All right. After spending hours following the fishmen, tracing them back to their source, we face the Warforged Manta, which is their leader at this time. And things are getting quite dicey. The target is going to move up to 15 because it's much more difficult. They're in their home turf. We've got swarms of fishmen and this Warforged Manta who's quite dangerous. And so the battle ensues. Our players jump around, they start fighting battle. Chris is throwing off spells, Alex is firing shots from a distance, Drew and JD are deep into this fray. Sarah is helping out from behind, as JD and them distract. Sarah comes in, finishes them off. But the battle ensues, they take damage, the Warforged moves around, taking his actions multiple times per round, and eventually someone drops. Okay. ICRPG handles dying in a very simple, very straightforward way. Essentially, when you reach 0 HP, okay, then you drop. Your character drops unconscious. When you reach 0 HP, all the spells or effects that you were creating, vanish, you fall unconscious, and you're bleeding out fast. The clock is ticking, okay? So let's say Drew and JD both drop on their turn. The Manta has blasted them with this energy ray. They both hit 0 HP at the same time, and now they fall dying. Okay, so on your next turn, so after we get back around to JD and Drew, on their turn, they're going to roll for dying, and that's rolling a D4. So this is going to be their dying timer. So JD is going to roll a 4, and Drew is going to roll another 4. So both of them have 4 rounds until they are they're spent, right? And additionally, on your turn, while you're dying, you have a narrow chance of a miracle. JD and Drew, as the rounds go around, it goes through everybody, it comes back to them. They tick their timer down by 1, and then on their turn, they get to roll for a miracle, which is a D20. So JD on his turn rolls a D20, doesn't make it. Drew rolls his D20, doesn't make it. Okay, if they were to roll a D20, it's a miracle, and they pop up with a 1 hit point just on their own. But without help, and if they can't roll that D20, this timer is going to keep ticking down every round until once it reaches 0, they are dead. Yeah, after all the dying round time, no one helps you, you can't roll miracle, you're dead, you're toast, no more rolls, no backdoor tricks, it's just, you're gone and spent. Now, if someone could get to you, they may be able to help. I'll touch that in just a second. Now, the other option is if you reach 0, you're just drop unconscious, and so there's a potential for you to get back up. But what happens if this Warforged Manta just had this massive attack? Something so huge, he rolled a crit, he just had triple ultimate on it, or something along those lines. In ICRPG, you can be blown to bits, which is taking so much damage in one cataclysmic instant that it reduces your character to negative 20 hit points. You are blown to bits. Now, in most cases, ICRPG, if you're not reduced to negative 20 in that one blow, it stops at 0. You don't really drop to negative 7 hit points. If it's not negative 20 or more, then just stop at 0 and then move up from there. But if it is negative 20, you're blown to bits, you are missed, your memories. There's not even a body to bury. You gotta watch out for those big things, from the Warforged Manta, a huge dragon blast, a rock falling, or you falling into a volcano. There may be nothing to save. But then how does healing work? How do you pop back up, right? So if you don't want to die, you want to live, how do you help? Well, for characters who are dying, they need some help from another player. So Sarah's nearby. She wants to come over and help JD and Drew. And so what she's going to do is roll a don't die on me man action, right? So your ally comes up to you. They have to be within reach, and then they have to make a successful int or wisdom roll, so intelligence or wisdom roll using their stats against the current target, which is a 15. And if you do, your dying timer stops in its tracks, right? And your player is now stable, but they are still unconscious. So let's see if Sarah could do it. She can take her action to do a don't die on me, right? And she tries to help JD stabilize him. So she's going to roll her int or wiz. Let's say she has a +1. She got a 13. She almost got a 14, right? So no go. But on the next run, she has an easy because she's doing the same action twice. So this time, instead of a 15, she's trying to beat a 12. Ooh, nat 20. She does it. Okay, so JD is stabilized. He is no longer dying, but he's still unconscious. And now she can try to move on and help Drew on the next turn. Right? But what does JD do? What does JD do when he's unconscious? This is where recovery can come into play. So a recovery action, and this can be taken by anyone at any times, it doesn't have to be just while you're dying, is at any time during play, you sacrifice your turn to pause, you regain your breath, and then you kind of stitch yourself up, and you just kind of, let me regain myself, let me just calm myself down. To do so, JD is unconscious, so now when it comes back to him, what he can do is roll a d20 against, plus his con bonus against the target. So he rolls a 4, no go, he doesn't recover. On his next turn, he tries it again easy, which is at 12. He has enough con bonus to get over that 12 with 11 plus his con, and now he recovers his con bonus plus 1. So he has a con bonus of, say, 2 plus 1. So JD pops back up and is finally regained consciousness with 3 hit points. Right? Now that's when he was dying. Alex and Chris here never dropped, but they could also take a pause to recover. So Chris has taken some damage. He steps away behind this cover. While he's still conscious, he rolls to recover. He's got 1 on his con, so he meets the target. He also gets to recover his con bonus of 1 plus 1, so he heals 2 points, but that took his entire turn. Right? And now you can get back in the fight. And that's just taking the recovery action. That's if you don't have any help or anything like that. But you can also do healing. We have healing magic and medical tools like bandages. So for example, if Drew is over here down, Chris has a healing spell from a distance. He could cast healing on Drew, try to meet or beat the target. Not quite, but let's say he rolls again on the next one against easy. Still no go. The third one, he finally gets it. He heals Drew for 7 hit points. That's enough to immediately pop him back up. So if you have magic or weapons or, tools to help heal players, you can bypass the don't die on me roll, you can bypass the recovery roll, and you can get players back up quite quickly, as long as you're able to meet or beat the target as you need. Otherwise, Drew is facing a gloomy fate, dying in this Manta Cave's cave. For this next line, let's finish off with the core guides with, the iconic hero coin, the legendary hero coin, and how it can be used in the game.